Yes, I don't know whether to be excited or don't know what to think now. This is the main breaking story of the day. This is the fresh, juicy story that will dominate the news for at least the next 24 hours. Former President Jacob Zuma has been found guilty of contempt of court by the Constitutional Court. And Acting Deputy Chief Justice Sizi Kampepe emphasizing the extraordinary attacks of Zuma on the legitimacy of the Constitutional Court. She said, "Never before has the authority and legitimacy of the Constitutional Court been subjected against these kinds of attacks." So Jacob Zuma has been sentenced. He's going to go to jail for 2 years. And I didn't actually watch the footage. Did they take him away in cuffs? Did they lead him away? How does it work? Does he go straight to jail? Does he go into a room at the back of the court and have a meeting with his lawyers? The one lawyer is possibly massaging his neck. And you see in the movies like Al Capone or some big mafioso guy, he gets found guilty and he's in the office with his lawyers and he throws things around, maybe even attacks or even assaults his lawyers. Nah, that's not Umsholozi's style. I don't think he would do that. He's a very calm chap. He gets the 2 years. Will he serve it? Will he serve the 2 years with dignity? I know dignity is a strong word. Well, we won't know now because, so he's been convicted. I don't know whether he's been led away. Will he appear before us? Would he appear before the media? Would he go on the Twitter? I stopped following him quite a while ago. Didn't like his tweets. How are we gonna see the reaction? I can just imagine he's I'm sure he knew beforehand. I mean, his lawyers, you think his lawyers had the balls to be honest with him? Well, Mr. Zuma, I gotta be honest with you, Mr. Zuma, this case does not look good. We'll see. I just would love to know what goes on in the background. I mean, I can't say I've met former President Jacob Zuma, but I was in the same room as him. He came as a guest once on a show at 702, that radio station 702, and I was like the producer, and they let him in. I didn't really meet him. I remember trying to give him a bottle of mineral water and they wouldn't accept it in case it was poisoned. In hindsight, I should have put something in the mineral water. No, mind you, they didn't accept the mineral water. There was actual tight security. Anyway, he just appeared to be a very softly spoken, quiet kind of man. He didn't walk in and he was like almost, can I say, wallpaper? He like walked in to the green room and then the studio, like not really taking notice of his surroundings, kind of like acting like he was in some kind of a cocoon. It was like it almost wasn't like real. He didn't seem like a real person. It was just, it could have, anyway, it's hard to explain. There was no warmth, there was no personality, there was nothing going on there. And I wonder, so I feel sorry for all his lawyers. I was going to say I feel sorry for his lawyers, but I wonder, what goes on behind the scenes? I would just love to know. Maybe one day one of those lawyers will write his memoirs. The day I lost my Jacob Zuma case. by so and so SC Esquire whatever PhD. I'm think Zizi Kodwa must be breathing a sigh of relief, because he was all over the news yesterday. I mean, it was embarrassing. He sat there. He didn't have a problem just saying whatever he liked. Yes, somebody gave him R1,000,000. It was a loan, and he used 850,000 rand to buy a fancy Jeep. And yes, no, it was money he didn't have to pay back. And then it was money he must. Oh no, it was a loan that he was supposed to pay back. But I mean, I don't think he's paying back. And then there was 250,000 rand, and anyway, he must be breathing a sigh of relief, because the news cycle just turns. We've now forgotten about Zizi Kodwa. We've moved on. You may have noticed as well, Carl Nias haven't interviewed him, and he would die for Msholozi. They cannot do this to Msholozi. There'll be a war. But maybe Carl Nias, maybe his head is still stuck. He's still stuck. Where I said it was stuck from yesterday, and that's why the deputy president is in Russia to get Carl Nias removed from him. So that explains why Carl Nias is not on the scene, busy supporting Msholozi. Ace Machashole must be thinking, whoa, I'm even luckier than Zizi Kodwa, because, hey, I've been in the news even more than Zizi Kodwa. So have we forgotten about Ace Machashole? When is what's happening with his case? He was taking the ANC to court to fight against his suspension. It was unconstitutional. What's going on there? There's so much of things going on. And the Guptas must. I don't know if the Guptas think anything. The Guptas probably think nobody can touch them. Interpol have got the go-ahead to capture the Guptas, to get the Guptas. But that Interpol story, that warrant, Interpol got the go-ahead to hunt them down. That was 3 weeks ago. Are the Guptas that elusive? Are Interpol not? Is Interpol like what is going on there? I don't know. So much the stories go on and on. What else are we missing? Sure. Who else is sitting back thinking, sure, attention's away from me? Sure, what a relief. Are we going to be watching to make sure that former President Jacob Zuma goes to jail for 2 years? And let's be honest, what kind of jail is he going to go to? What kind of jail is he going to go to? Do you think he's going to be put in a cell with some guy? Hey, former President Jacob Zuma, how you do? How you doing? And you are? Hey, serial killer Mfolozi. Hey, I've read all about your work. Devastating stuff. I mean, is that going to happen? No. I'm watching Wimbledon now with the green grass. Do you think Jacob Zuma's going to have a nice green lawn to play a bit of tennis, perhaps? Perhaps they'll bring Amanda Kutzer. I mean, she's retired somewhere in the Tsitsikamma. They'll bring her to maybe coach him, to maybe give President Zuma a bit of tennis lessons while he's in jail. Because they can't bring Wayne Ferreira. I saw a picture of Wayne Ferreira. Wayne Ferreira, a famous South African tennis player. He made the semi-finals of the US Open back in 1992, in case you forget that. It's horrible when they show a picture of a tennis player or some famous sportsman and you haven't seen them in like almost 20 years, and you look at what they look like now, and they used to be thin and bony, you saw the cheekbones. Now you don't see the cheekbones. Meantime, he's just normal. You forget that when they were elite athletes, he was an elite athlete. But when you look at a picture of him now with his puffy face, you think, oi vey. You think, oi. Same with Ivan Lendl. Did you see Ivan Lendl in the crowds? Because he was coaching Djokovic at one time. Ivan Lendl looked like he was in renal failure or congestive heart failure. Meantime, he's just normal. You're forgetting, elite athlete, no fat back in those days. So what kind of jail is Umsholozi going to be in? And he'll be allowed visitors, maybe even conjugal visits. Once they've extracted Carl Nias out of David Mabusa, and he's come back from Russia, obviously cleaned up a bit. Carl Nias will be given conjugal visits, possibly to go visit Umsholozi. They're very close, eh? They're very close. Isn't that? It's beautiful. You know, I wish, if anything, you should only be so grateful to ever have a friend like Carl Nias. The way Carl Nias is a friend to former President Jacob Zuma, imagine having a friend like Carl Lewis. Sorry, I said Carl Lewis. I'll have to edit that out. Carl Niehaus. It's beautiful. He'll die for you, he says. Why did I say Carl Lewis? I'll just very briefly, let me defend myself. Freudian slip. I was watching the American athletic trials for the Olympics yesterday on YouTube. Oh my Lord, what those athletes were doing. This 400-meter hurdler, Laurie, I think her surname was McLaughlin or something. No, not the one who cheated on getting into Harvard. That's somebody else. This is a real athlete that actually is an athlete. And actually, funnily enough, she actually is a graduate of Harvard. Shattered the world record for the 400-meter hurdles. Just remarkable. Absolutely. And that was only the one thing. If you don't, you know what? If the Tokyo Olympics don't happen, if they come to their senses and realize it's maybe not such a good thing, just go onto the tube of the YouTube, and just watch the American athletic trials for the Olympics. That's beautiful. It's very nice, very nice. Didn't have a good start to the morning because I hadn't seen the Jacob Zuma story yet. I thought to myself, I found out that I was blocked. Jonathan Witt, who's one of the Panda representatives, he blocked me. I thought to myself, I haven't seen any of his tweets lately. Let me go look for him. He blocked me. And I thought to myself, what have I done wrong? What have I was observing his tweets. They were very entertaining. Entertaining in a kind of like a sick, macabre way. I think I got this thing where I actually enjoy getting angry. It's terrible. It's not good. It's not healthy. I'll see a tweet that angers me, and it's almost a sense of entertainment. It's not healthy. Maybe Jonathan has done me a good service, perhaps. Anyway, I can't think of why he blocked me. I'm thinking, why did he block me? Yesterday there was a whole thing on Twitter where I saw a thing from, there was a whole thread. There's a lot of things going on at the moment. A lot of sensible, educated academics, journalists, scientists are really trying to hit back quite strongly at Nick Hudson and his organization called Panda, because, they publishing and coming up with all this absolute nonsense. Anti-vaccine, anti-masks, COVID denialists, you name it, they do it. So I asked the question, what does Nick Hudson get out of this? What is the motives? What is it? So I'm questioning, is it financial? Is it purely is he looking for attention? Is it a personality disorder? Is it political? Is it this and that? Okay, I didn't ask those exact things, but those were the answers I got. People gave answers, and very complicated answers. The simplest answer was looking for attention. The other simple answer was getting money, because apparently they're on a similar, not PayPal, not Patreon, but something similar where people can donate money to Panda. So maybe Panda's making money. And then somebody commented that Panda's financials have not been audited or published or whatever, made public. And so maybe they haven't pointed out how they've spent their money. Somebody pointed out there's lots of really wealthy so-called like libertarians, or I don't know how they can call them libertarians, but people that have the same thought processes are supporting Panda. Then it got very complicated and political, pointing out that Nick Hudson and Panda are anti-labor movement, they're anti-climate preservation, they're anti-employment equity, not equity, but employment protections, anti-unions, just everything right wing you can think about. Maybe not. They haven't gone as far as being total Nazis. They haven't gone that far, but they're pushing the right wing agenda. So those are all the answers. And people said, read this, read that. So I don't think I did anything that offensive. I just simply asked the question. And what was really interesting is that Nick Hudson himself was tagged on all of this. Nick Hudson never responded himself to any of these questions. To me, it was a unique opportunity for Nick Hudson to actually answer these questions himself. He didn't. But at least he didn't block me. Didn't block me. Thank you, Nick Hudson, for not blocking me. I like your work. I found you entertaining. Yes, you're a bit scary. Yes, I do find you a bit creepy. But thank you. I respect you for not blocking me. Thank you. Thank you. Whenever I burst into that Alanis Morissette song, but I won't. So Jonathan Witt has blocked me, and yes, I am the poorer for it. Blocking people can be a good thing. It can be healthy. You don't want to be exposed to their toxicity. He doesn't want to be exposed to my toxicity. Maybe I'm toxic. But this is it. I was following Jonathan Witt, Dr. Jonathan Witt, not causing any problems. Maybe there was an outside chance that I could have been influenced and I could have been shown the right, turned over to the dark side. Maybe I could have been convinced that masks are useless. Maybe I could have been convinced that COVID-19 is merely just the flu. Maybe I could have been convinced that social distancing is a joke. Maybe I could have been shown the way that everybody must get COVID and get really, really sick. And maybe I could have been turned around but I can't anymore because I've been blocked. And then it got me thinking, maybe I'm a hypocrite. I myself have blocked many, many, many people. I wouldn't be able to tell you how many people I've blocked because I've blocked. I tried to do an exercise a couple of months ago where I started unblocking people on Facebook. Do you know that I started getting tired? I was 5 minutes into the process and I realized, Damon, I said to myself, Damon, I can't finish. This is going to take me the whole day. No, it was Facebook, Bernice. I was on Facebook. And it was, and then, thank you for mentioning Twitter. Twitter's even worse because the unblocking mechanism on Twitter is even more complicated. You got to look at your settings. You got to look at your profiling. It's, one day when I got a bit of time, maybe over the weekend, maybe you know what I must do. Maybe on a Saturday night, while Bernice is working in the study, doing really important stuff, maybe I should sit down and unblock all these people. But can I be honest with you? I've never blocked people just willy-nilly. I didn't just, some of the people, the vast majority of people that I've blocked are people that actually creep me out. it's not just people that I find annoying or silly or ignorant. Those people I don't necessarily block. Some of the people I found downright kind of evil, I suppose. Just like unpleasant. Toxic isn't even a strong enough word. Just ugh. There's some really yucky people out there. About 2 years ago, I started getting chased on Facebook. What happened was somebody wrote a comment on Facebook attacking me, attacking my Jewishness and calling me a mamza and going mad. Before I knew what was what, his wife or his son started private messaging me on Facebook. Then all these people with the same surname started trying to get hold of me on Facebook, and it was kind of like scary. I felt freaked out. So I started blocking. I went into a whole thing of blocking. In hindsight, I should have reported these people. They were like trying to. I got to admit, I was freaked out. I was freaked out. But maybe I must. I don't know. Maybe I must unblock some people, because you know what? Maybe it's an opportunity for me to get more listeners to this podcast. Maybe I've closed off a whole market of potential listeners. And Dr. Jonathan Witt, you may have done the same thing. By blocking me, you could have converted me, and I would have shared your stuff. I could have become a panda disciple. Nah, who am I kidding? It would never have happened. But it's all theoretically it could have happened, but it wouldn't have happened. But theoretically, wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have happened. Anyway, what can I say? Can I leave you on a happy note? Pierre de Vos, that constitutional law expert, he gave the figures this morning. Just take this and see if you can swallow this. This is the amount of money the Guptas have stolen from South Africa since 2011. 16,217,793,470 rand and 18 cents. That's the total amount that the Guptas have taken from state capture since they started, apparently, with their early scams in the Free State. Apparently the Free State is the place to go. I don't know. It's crazy. 16 billion rand and all that. It's crazy. Before I go, happy birthday, Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks turns 95. And without realizing it, without knowing it as a child, I think Mel Brooks was my first inspiration. History of the world. History of the world. Mel Brooks. That was just happy birthday, Mel, and I hope we can get some more. Do you think we can get some more years out of Mel? How's his health? If he's drooling in a wheelchair, put him out. Just let him die. But Mel, if you're up and about, if you still got your faculties, stick around longer. I don't think Mel's doing any work. Mind you, no, just stay healthy, Mel. Enjoy your grandchildren. You're really one of my heroes. It's beautiful. Of course, Mel Brooks got vaccinated, man. I got so angry yesterday. I got so upset. I wasn't going to bring this up. But I got so angry yesterday, man. This one person, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to get all. This one person has been completely COVID denialist, anti-mask, anti-everything. Like a real panda, what's the word I'm looking for? Cheerleader. Talks about how his parents got vaccinated a few days ago. And he says it all grudgingly, my parents got vaccinated. They were wary of the dangers and the controversy, but you know what? Eventually they decided to get vaccinated. Why are your parents getting vaccinated? Why? I just want to shoot my... Anyway, don't know what to say. Anyway. Please just open the vaccines to everybody already. I got so upset that the Dis-Chem say that 70% of the appointments to get the vaccine don't show up. That's what happens when you deal with over 60s. These over 60-year-olds, I forgot to come. They don't keep diaries. They don't remember. Maybe they're standing at the bank in the queue, waiting trying to get their bank statements, so they forget to go get their vaccine. So now please just open it up to everybody, man. I think that's my final word on everything. Has it been angry and aggressive? I think I was angry and aggressive enough. Thank you.